Hi, my name is Alex. I'm from Bunn, North Carolina. It's a very small town in the country, very rural. I grew up on farms, so I'm a country girl, and that was kind of how I got involved in environment and agriculture and wanted to conserve nature. I graduated from North Carolina A&T State University in 2019 with a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture Education, and I have a concentration in professional services and a minor in ag science. So I've always wanted to do something with communities and helping them adjust with climate change and conservation efforts. I've also worked some in construction and community planning, program development. I was an agriculture teacher for 13 months at a high school, which was really great. And that further let me know that I wanted to work on helping smaller communities implement the initiatives they were interested in.
Hi everyone, my name is Shamaria Mozone. I'm a recent graduate of Howard University with my Bachelor's of Sciences in Biology and Chemistry. I currently attend Meharry Medical College, which is an HBCU medical college, getting my master's degree in global health and health policy and health equity, just for overall global health. I'm from Augusta, Georgia, so I am a Southern girl. I'm still in the major city, but I would just say I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, so my host site is the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and they work to protect, manage, and advocate for the Appalachian National Scenic Trail, which runs through a climate corridor in the mountains of eastern United States. It goes from Maine all the way down to Georgia, so it covers a pretty large area. And most of the greatest amount of concentrated animal migration in the United States happens in that climate corridor. So they're doing some really important work. And for my project, I'm researching ways to help smaller communities. We have designated Appalachian Trail communities, and we want to find ways to help support them in capacity building and economic development for community-based conservation projects. And so I'm looking at successful projects in the past, any failures, anything that can be replicated for other communities to do so that they can get more stewardship, get more economic development, and just have support for the issues that they find important. So we really want to identify what specific communities need and meet them where they stand and just give them support so they can focus on protecting that important climate corridor environment. We had kind of a broad scope initially, so one of our challenges was kind of paring that down to see what was the most important. And also because we serve so many communities, we really had to identify like where we wanted to start at and where the need was the greatest. So our objective is, again, it protects such an important environmental part of the United States that connects to the world globally. So our most objective is to help them with sustainability, to help them if they're interested in renewable energy. And while they're growing and implementing those changes, we still want to protect their natural environment and green space.
So I currently work with Leave No Trace. It's a national program really developed to kind of help with waste out in the real world. So the overall goal is to be able to kind of reduce waste when it comes to outdoor activities, usually non-motorized. So anything that comes with pollution or anything that we could do as personal humans to kind of help reduce waste. I personally would say I'm working on an inventory to kind of break down the website to make it just a bit more usable and like accessible to all. So I wouldn't necessarily say I've come with challenges with that, but I will say one of the biggest challenges has been like things are always evolving. So you're always changing logos, you're always changing material to find a way to make sure the resources that you have uploaded to the website are with the current events now. So whether that's pollution 2 days ago is different than pollution tomorrow. So we want to think about things like that. The Earth is currently changing. 1 to 2 degrees makes a huge difference when it comes to Earth as a whole. So that's something we want to reconsider when it comes to uploading resources and how to help with waste management for sure.
So I've actually had the chance to collaborate with one of the communities that we serve. Before I came to Nigeria, we went to Asheville, North Carolina to stay there and visit. And then we went to one of the designated Appalachian Trail communities that we serve, which is called Hot Springs, North Carolina. And we just engaged with the community. We walked on their portion of the Appalachian Trail and took a hike. And we visited some of the shops and storefronts there that serve the community just to engage and speak with them to see what they valued, what changes they would like to see, and also how they were impacted and how they felt about some of the projects that had already happened. And so it was just a very good chance to speak with them and just kind of put a face with the people that they work with and just kind of engage and talk with them further.
I would say I've had the best experience here. I have a little bit of a cold, but that is something I came to Nigeria with, unfortunately. But I would say I've had the most amazing experience. I would say like my expectations have surpassed. I've enjoyed the food. I'm sure I ate the egusi soup by myself yesterday. But overall, I've had the best experience, being able to meet the people here, interact with the communities, our staff, GYF. They've really worked really hard to just make sure that this trip has been not only like attainable for all of us, but enjoyable as well. Like when we aren't working, we're finding a way to be able to interact and have these extracurricular activities. So I would say my expectations have been surpassed 100%.
So my experience so far in Nigeria has been really good. It's been nice to just see how everyone lives here, what they do kind of on a daily basis versus just if we were here for a couple of days, we wouldn't really get to see much. So thankfully, we get a full week here. My favorite thing that we've done so far, we went to a wellness center. And so it was nice to see like the local plants that they have, that they grow, that they can use for medicine or just overall wellness. So I think that was probably my favorite thing so far. And just engaging with communities and seeing how they live, speaking with them. So I'm really excited for that.
I would probably say my most inspiring experience would probably be visiting Makoko for sure. I think I wasn't expecting that. I think the internet is such a broad thing where you're looking up these videos and you're trying to figure out ways to connect and you're trying to understand like what is it that it actually looks like, and being able to be down there and be on these boats and see how children are lived, the parents are living. Like hospitals aren't what hospitals look like in the US. So when women are giving birth, they're giving birth in these homes on water. So I would say that that was not at all what I was expecting. And I didn't think I was gonna cry. I am an empath, so I am a crier. I cry about anything. I'll cry when I see a dog walking down the road. So being there and like bursting into tears and seeing like this is really how people are living, and they don't even see anything wrong. And although there's nothing truly wrong about the way that they live, it's about the fact that the accessibility to the resources that they have is very limited. And I thank God every day for the privileges that I've been blessed with within the US, but that's something that I've noticed is like there's kids out there that have these big dreams and aspirations of. I talked to one the other day and she was like, my dream is to be a pilot. And I was like, have you ever been on a plane? And she was like, no. And I was like, have you ever seen a plane? And she was like, no. So you think about the fact that these kids have these big aspirations and dreams and goals, and they aren't necessarily as attainable as they are to me because of the resources that they were given. I would say that's probably the biggest inspiring, and not necessarily inspiring, but eye-opening experiences I've been here.
I think for me, the most eye-opening and inspiring thing that we've done, we visited the local Makoko community, and they're underserved because a lot of them are immigrants and they don't kind of have a permanent place to live. So it was just very eye-opening to speak with some of them, tour their communities and see some of the challenges they face. And a lot of those challenges are rooted in sustainability and environmental impact. So it was just very eye-opening and a chance to see how some of the work that we do in the US can be implemented here to help them.
Some sustainable things that we can kind of use to improve Nigeria, I would probably say a big thing is waste management, finding a way to maybe get the wastewater from these cities and use it for urban farming, finding a way to kind of take that out of their cities and help with water pollution and things like that, so that this stuff is relatively clean and accessible for them. I mean, although this is here, living in that for a long period of time is not healthy. So I would say finding a way to reduce pollution, and with the water pollution that they have, I mean, the influx of plastic and paper that we saw in those waters, and the kids are also still swimming, using it for drinking, using it for cooking. So I would probably say finding a best way to help with waste management when it comes to water pollution.
I think one of the things I see for sustainability development in Nigeria is that there's a lot of waste, and especially plastic waste, a lot of tires around. And I think one thing that they could do for sustainability development and to help them overall is waste management and implementing like reusable materials and cutting down on plastic waste. I think that would help a great deal, and even further getting into reusing those same materials that they have around to work on their infrastructure.
A project that I would implement if I had a ton of money. Mentally, I have so much money, so I would probably list out a million things that I would do, but I would say a big thing for me is implementing the Leave No Trace educational programs that we have. Something what Leave No Trace does is find a way to help with the kids in the community. So we find ways to make Black kids as well as brown kids as well as white kids go out to national parks and find fun things to do. And I know that may not be as attainable here, but one thing that we're emphasizing is how to create greener spaces and greener environments. So I think something that would be important here is emphasizing that the website inventory I have here to kind of help with resource management so that every community is tailored to them. I think a big thing with that is also to get kids excited about cleaning up their environment. You know, we want Nigeria to, not even just Nigeria, but Africa to prosper over the next few years and next few generations. And we want the people to come back and be like, oh my God, I'm proud. I'm proud to say that this is where I live. I'm proud to say this is where I've grown up with. I'm also proud to see that this is how we've been able to overcome over the last few years. And I think the only way to do that is be able to show younger kids that there is a joy in being able to clean your environment and make it safe for you and for future generations to come.
If I had unlimited resources, one project that I would implement in Nigeria is building with reusable materials. So I have a little bit of a background for several years in construction. And one thing that really interests me is earthships. And it's basically building homes in tandem with nature and using reclaimed materials. So using tires, using bottles, you pack them with dirt and other materials to make them essentially eco bricks. And I think that would be something great to implement here because it's materials that are already around that just the average person could pick up and use to build them a sustainable home so they're not constantly having to move because they don't have somewhere permanently to live. And I've even seen some people around using shipping containers, which is something that's also getting more popular in the US, and I feel like they could really utilize that here.
The best way that I can find a way to kind of continue this on in Nigeria is like my project over a whole, but like all the resources and stuff like that. I would say I talked to the King of Makoko, and one thing I emphasize is that at Howard University, we have a alternative spring break. And all of that has nothing to do with my project. We take a week, we raise money on our own, and we come out to developing countries or developing cities, and we find a way to help contribute for that week. So that's build homes, go to churches, hand out food. We like to immerse ourselves in environments, so that's no hotels. We live on cots, we sleep on in churches, we sleep on floors. That's the best way for us to really get an understanding of what it's like to be in that community. So I did talk to the King of Makoko and did get his contact information of finding ways to bring students out here, you know, with his permission, of course, to maybe be able to give back. So whether that is build schools or build homes or build something to be able to help further the generations that come in Makoko. I think a big fear is displacement, and I think that that's something that can help that is being able to clean that environment. So I think Howard University, or just really any school that does alternative spring break to be able to help give back communities for a week would be the best thing for me, is be able to use my resources and talk to Nigerian educators or kings, queens, whoever here that I can speak to be able to kind of find leeway of being able to give out those resources.
So my hope for the future of climate change is that more people will actually start to listen, educate themselves, and understand the vastness of climate change. It's not just rising temperatures, it's also rising sea levels. Ice caps are melting, animals are having to move into different areas, which trickles down and affects the food chain and also affects us. Like we already spoke about, the plastic waste, and not just here, all over, that continues to go into the ocean, which continues to affect us. The water's getting hotter, so we're having more intense storms, which is more flooding. So my hope is that everyone, not just United States, not just Nigeria, but everyone starts to implement things that will reduce our individual impacts, which will bring it down as a whole so that we can make it safer, not just for us, but also for future generations so that we can all live and thrive and be happy on the planet that we share together.
My hope for Nigeria when it comes to climate change is just seeing relative, improvement. I think being here and seeing, we talk about pollution, we talk about emphasizing greener spaces. I think something that we really want to emphasize is seeing change. I think we have a lot of leaders and we have a lot of people that talk about what we want to see, but it's about implementation. So I personally want to be able to see that people are actually implementing the things that they want to see in the world. I want to see greener spaces, and what are you doing to do that? I mean, you talk about pollution, what are we doing to help combat that? Are there recycling bins around? Is there an incentive to help communities want to clean up the areas in which they live? So something I would hope to see is just improvement within the next 2 years, 1 year, 6 months. I think anything like that is destined for change, and it's not going to take overnight, but over the next 6 months to the next few years, I'm hoping to just see some improvement so that this can be an area more livable for all communities.
So I'm hoping to continue my climate work after the fellowship. I really want to stay involved in projects where I take things that we're doing in the US and connect them to global initiatives to help the world at large, because just like communities, our environment is connected across the globe. So I think it's really important that we continue to collaborate and share resources so that we can all benefit from them. So I've been the most inspired from our fellowship journey by our founder, and CEO, Mr. James. He travels a lot and works with a lot of organizations from government all the way down to like NGOs and small local communities to speak with them and like observe them to see what they value most and how he can implement his resources and connections to help them based on where they need. And something I really value is working with small communities because they often don't have the resources or the connections to implement the changes they needed, and they're the ones being most impacted by climate changes. And I think it's important to identify what they need, because if you come into a community and you don't know them, things you implement might not even be something that they value or something that they can continue doing when you leave, versus if they have buy-in and connection, it's more likely to succeed long-term, and that's something that I really value. So I like that he puts his resources to good use across multiple organizations.
Yes, I want to give a huge shout out to Victory, my queen, Dominique, literally everyone, all the women here that have really made this possible, all the women here that are Israel, oh my gosh, I can name everyone, but literally our crew behind me, just being able to say that they've worked all week to just make sure that we're safe, capture these moments, these pictures, the laughs, the tears, everything. I just want to say a big shout out to all of them, as well as the boys and girls and the communities that I've seen out here, to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to see your homes and also see what we can do to make a change, because I'm hoping that these little girls that are wishing to be pilots or these little boys wishing to be teachers can have those resources given to them. So I just want to say a big shout out to everyone that's made this worthwhile and made this opportunity just freeing and amazing. So thank you.
I'm very thankful for this experience, not just here in Nigeria, but my fellowship experience as a whole. And I'm very excited and inspired by what we've done, and I hope to continue it in the future.
Hello, with everybody for you.